My father used to tell me keep your head high. So I roll the blunt and I'ma light it up. Always see the people with the fake smile. Come behind your back, that's so robbing ball. Me, I live my life, I know the waste time. If you got a problem, I got back and go. I ain't gotta worry about the fake lies or the fake lies. Sometimes I wanna quit it, sometimes I wanna cry. When me or die, it bring tears to my eyes. But then it make me think it, life know they come twice. So I'm gonna leave, spread my wings, I can fly high. And if you want, we can play life. And if you want, we can play life. You just need the man above and the man inside. You just need the man above and the man inside. And if you want, we can play life. And if you want, we can play life. You just need the man above and the man inside. You just need the man above and the man inside. Tears crying, lesson learned. Gotta keep it moving, that's the only way. You try, you the plan. When you say you gotta keep it on the way. People talk, I know the same. I've been demanding, I know the job on way. They say what they wanna say, what they wanna say. Sometimes I feel conflicted, sometimes I wonder why. Love is so high, but I know I gotta try. Then they make me think it, like no they come twice. So I'm gonna leave, spread my wings, I can fly high. And if you want, we can play life. And if you want, we can play life. You just need the man above and the man inside. You just need the man above and the man inside. And if you want, we can play life. And if you want, we can play life. You just need the man above and the man inside. You just need the man above and the man inside. What you want in life? You say you gotta think it and understand it. Sometimes it gets hard, other times it's rosy. You gotta understand how to make use of the whole. Sometimes I feel conflicted, sometimes I wonder why. Love is so high, but I know I gotta try. Then they make me think it, like no they come twice. So I'm gonna leave, spread my wings, I can fly high. And if you want, we can play life. And if you want, we can play life. You just need the man above and the man inside. You just need the man above and the man inside. And if you want, we can play life. And if you want, we can play life. You just need the man above and the man inside. You just need the man above and the man inside. What you want in life? You say you gotta think it and understand it. Sometimes it gets hard, other times it's rosy. You gotta understand how to make use of the whole thing. Make use of every emotion. The feelings of the spirit guide and move. Until you really understand this, you will never really understand yourself. You will never really understand life. Yeah, love, life. And if you want, we can build life. And if you want, we can build life. You just need the man above and the man inside. You just need the man above.
Peace and love, wonderful family. Welcome to the 54 Correspondence Show on the Blackwood Fan Network. I hope that everyone is doing well on yet another wonderful Thursday. And of course, on the 54 Correspondence Show, we get to talk about different matters affecting us as African people. And we give you news from the east of Africa, the west of Africa, the south of Africa, and everywhere else across our beautiful African continent. How are you doing? In Swahili, we normally do say ham jambo. And the proper and the correct response for that would be happy jambo. If you are responding as a group. But if you are responding individually, in Swahili, you would normally just say Sijambo. And of course, I am delighted that you are with us right here on the Blackwood Fan Network. And of course, I see Big Lou, who said, I'm on the spikes. I had you looking for me. Here you go. Yes, I was Big Lou. How are you doing? I hope that everything is coming up just fine. And I was asking where you disappeared off to. But Zoe was letting me know that you have been busy. And I understand that duty calls, and I understand that you have to hit the plantation and you are also busy with the family doing this and that. So therefore, I do get to appreciate you, and it's all peace and love, brother. And of course, on the 54 Corresponding Show, we, like I said earlier, it's all about getting to, give you the objective view of the African continent, and also letting you know what's happening around the beautiful continent. We are coming live to you from our Nairobi studios, and we hope that you get to hear me loud and clear. If not loud yet, better yet, you can hear me clear. And that is what I am hoping for. Remember, on the Black Hot Fire Network, we are live and interactive on our different social media platforms. We are on Twitter, Black Hot Fire. We are also on Facebook, Black Hot Fire Network Radio Station. You can also find us on Instagram, Black Hot Fire Network. And on all those different platforms, you can be able to talk to us and let us know what's good and what's going on with you. I have seen some feedback coming from some artists, and they have been saying that they do have their music they would like to play. They would have it played right here on the Black Hot Fire Network. It's a good thing. We encourage, young artists are coming up. And if you would like to send through an email, kindly make sure you do so using blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. Once again, it's blackhotfireafrica@gmail.com. And once you are on there, you can be able to let us know what music you are making. And we would also be scheduling some interviews very, very soon with some of the young and upcoming artists in Africa, not just in Nairobi, Kenya, but even across the beautiful African continent. We also do have a wonderful interview lined up for you next week on Monday. Join us on the Express Show. We shall be having a wonderful guest. She goes by the name Maureen Coetz. She is one of the most renowned actors in the 254, and she will be talking to us and letting us know what's coming up and what her music journey, her acting journey has been like as an actress in Kenya. And, if she has any plans for going global or for going regional or continental right here on the Black Hot Fire. We played this some music. The first song was actually life, and there are so many things that happen with life. And one of the things that has to do with life, which is very, very an important lesson in life, is to have patience. Because at the end of the day, you do find people in life without patience, and they want to hurry everything. They want to rush everything. And of course, on that particular song by Lexter Wolf, he says that you have to be patient, and you also have to learn to trust the process, because you are not wholly responsible. You're not 100% responsible for everything that happens. Most of the cases you are reacting. Sometimes you have to be proactive, but sometimes you are reactive. Some of the things in life, you are not in full control of these things. But for the literal, or for the part that you are responsible, and for the part that you can be able to control, you should actually act with positivity and also continue approaching life with a lot of optimism, because at the end of the day, you're thinking, as we were learning yesterday, the power of the law of vibration. It says that you also are vibrating, and if you would like to vibrate higher, then it means that you also have to tend to positivity, and also shun fear, and also shun these other negative things, so that you can also be able to continue vibrating in a higher. Nonetheless, I want to welcome you once again to the Black Hot Fire Network 54 Corresponding Show. My name is Pikes. In case you are joining us for the first time, I want to remind you to visit our website, which is www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Once you are on the website, please create your own personal profile on the top right of that particular website. And once you do, you will be able to interact with the rest of the family on the show page. There's a community chat there, and you can be able to interact with all the family. You can also download our app. It's available on Play Store. For those of us who are using Google or Android, you can just go to Google Play Store and search for the Black Hot Fire Network app. It's very, very easy to use. It's very, very also interactive. You can be able to enjoy all the features of the website on the app. And it's not even a heavy file. It's about maybe 10 MBs or 15 MBs. It's not really heavy. It will not cost you a lot of space on your phone. And therefore, I do want to urge all of us to make sure that you do find that particular app, because it enables you easy listening on the go as you're going about your business, as you're doing this and that. You can be able to use the app. These days we have apps for everything. And I have also been sharing some of the most common apps that people are using, especially social media apps. There are so many of them, like, for example, TikTok, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. Right now, I'm even surprised to see that TikTok has surpassed all these other apps in terms of our downloads. We do have about 850 million downloads for WhatsApp. And of course, WhatsApp 69 million, Facebook 540 million, Instagram 5 or 3 million. and Snapchat, as well as a Facebook Messenger. But you also have to add our app onto your Play Store. It's a good thing that you also add our app, which is a Black Hot Fire Network app, and you can be able to listen to easy music, R&B, some hip hop, among other wonderful, wonderful things. Nonetheless, I want to get straight into the matter of the day, and I shall be talking about what is happening in different nations, because Africa at large, like you said, I always keep on saying that Africa at large is a place where there's so many things happening at once. There's so many things happening at once, and sometimes there's some incoherent, there's some incoherent kind of a way in which we work as Africans. We are not working in a cooperating and in a coherent manner for the better part, because you realize that, for example, when it comes to the matter of addressing the COVID, the pandemic, people, different African countries have different views, and therefore you will find it very, very difficult for us to have one standpoint, which I believe would be very, very much important. If we did have one standpoint and say, this is our standpoint in terms of the matters to do with the COVID pandemic, this is our stand as a continent, and the African leaders have come so far together and they have said this is how they will attend to it, that would be a wonderful thing. But you do find a country like Togo says this, a country like Eritrea says this, another country like South Africa says this, another country like Kenya says this, Nigeria says this, and there is a whole lot of confusion when it comes to addressing matters that are facing us as an African continent. When it comes to health matters, educational matters, economic matters, we do not have one voice that can actually be, can resonate across all the African nations. All the time we do have, Uganda saying this, Tanzania wants that, the other one wants that. I do not say that it is a must, but it would be good because there is unity, there is strength in unity. And of course, I do hope that many of you do get to agree with me. But if you did have a unified voice, then we would be able to have a better approach in terms of responding to things globally, like we have seen with the European Union, or like we have seen with the USA, or like we have seen with different blocks, for example, in Asia, talking in one voice, and that is what they want to respond to, a particular kind of a situation with. But in Africa, everyone else wants to rush their own way, and get a whole lot of a confusion going on. Yesterday, I did share with us a matter of South Africa, and I said that Julius Malema, at some point, I thought he was a man of the people. I thought he was a visionary man who knows what is happening in the world and who has the best interest for his people. Only for me to realize that he has no idea what is happening, which is a shame. And this is what he was saying. I shared this a little bit on the African show yesterday.
Sapra. They are refusing Chinese vaccine. Why? We must get Johnson because of Bill Gates. We're not puppets of Bill Gates. We don't play tennis with Bill Gates. So if Bill Gates bought them by the time he came here to play tennis, and when he left, Corona came, and he knew what was going to happen, he came to bribe them here. And Cyril is just pushing us into one option. Pfizer, Johnson. Pfizer, Johnson. So we must just get American, European things. What is this nonsensical thing called BRICS? They are BRICS partners, yet they don't buy vaccine from each other. He should be getting vaccine from Russia. He should be getting vaccine from China. He should be getting vaccine from Cuba. Now,
the whole point of confusion going on with these Julius Malema is that he doesn't know what has been happening with India. Many people thought that India is a powerhouse when it comes to making vaccines, and Indians did make their vaccines. But we have also seen them dying off in the streets, in the streets. And of course, I want to share these with us as well. People are thinking that, Africa will come and get the vaccines from India and all these other things. But I will show us some videos, and you will let me know what your thoughts are on the same. You might say the African people. The problem is, as an African people, we do not have a unified voice. We do not have one voice in which we are able to respond, and say this is how we shall be addressing the pandemic. And that is my problem with the people of Africa. If you go to Chad, if you go to Nigeria, everyone else says this, then someone else says that, and then we do not have one unified kind of an approach or one unified kind of a response to any pandemic or to any pandemic or to any problem that is facing us. Everyone wants to do it their own way, you are lost in all these different kind of responses. And I shared these with us sometimes last week on what is going with India, and you will make your own deductions, of course.
You already know what's going on with India. I already told you what's going on with India.
Governments also say that too, that
Kida, how are you doing?
I'm good, Spikes. How about you?
I'm
You
doing
good?
great. I'm doing fantastic. I was just saying that in Africa we are lacking a coherent response to anything that is affecting us. For example, when it comes to health
Of, of,
matters.
of, of course, but why? Because you got all these borders with these different puppets.
Yeah,
So you never gonna have a unified agenda, and the educational system in Africa is cloning black people to be Europeans. So you got black people cloned to be Europeans. Of
making
course,
the
you're not gonna have a unified. Go ahead, Spikes.
no, the making of an European. That would also be a
Exactly.
the,
But yeah, Negropean. That's a better
yeah.
nomenclature there. A Negropean. So you got
Mm,
Museveni now. Now this old raggedy bastard been in power
mm,
for 40 years. Has not been a benefit to Ugandan and Ugandan society. When he dies, he's gonna die as a rogue. But they don't care because they got the new puppet ready on standby, which is Bobby Wine. So eventually, Bobby
yeah,
Wine will be president of that country. And sadly enough, it's going to be, the new boss, same as the old boss. Same old kind of
exactly.
bullshit because the
Mm,
Ugandans have been undereducated to know even what's going on, to understand the sophistication of what's going on. That's it. But if he gets in power, I don't think he'll last long. I said there's a wave of consciousness coming over African people, the youth. Youth are not going to stand by no more and just be impoverished.
yeah.
So hold your hat. It's gonna be a bumpy ride in Africa. I'm gonna be there for every. I'm in Tanzania for every good part of it. Damn it! I said, don't kill me. I'm not one of the coons. Yeah.
No,
So no. So go ahead,
I,
Spike.
I was I was just saying that Museveni was also a young man once. In 1986, he was saying,
Of
he was
course.
quoted. I wish I could get that video. But in 1986, he was saying the problem with African leadership is that, especially Uganda, is that we have leaders who want to overstay in power, and eventually that
Yeah, I
became
remember
him.
saying that.
What was in 1986? Eventually that became him. That was him now. That is him 40
Yeah,
years
because
later.
it's a joke. He with all this because he was set up as a puppet. That's why you always say about it was me that came in after Idi Amin and gave the stability. Idi Amin was the only leader you had that fought against European imperialism. He was the only one that
Mm,
treated African people with respect. And so he's
mm,
made the villain. Remember, Idi Amin in Western culture has been made the villain.
mm,
Because if everybody practiced the same kind of Africa first and love
mm,
African people, the continent
mm,
would be completely different today. You know, he was the one that wasn't a puppet, and they had to get his ass out of there. But
mm.
you know, he didn't want to have white people licking his feet and shit. Lick my feet, cracker. You want to do business here? Get all these damn no good Richard ass Indians up out of here. Get your shit. Get your ass up out of here. You're not African. And you treat African people like shit. Get all this shit up and get your ass out of it. Like you said, Spike, you said about, oh yes, this will look good for my wife. My wife likes being a seamstress. This will be her business. Or
She,
somebody saying like that.
this is the kind of leadership we do have right here in the content. But I want to share with us, one of the speeches by Museveni, and then we shall continue right here on the Blackwood Fire Network, because this was 1986, and you can see him having a very, very big passion for the leadership, but we know he's a puppet, and therefore, this is what he was up to way back in 1986.
Hey, what's up,
Yeah,
guys?
that's a fool
Ken
to
here from
people.
Uganda.com, where you can shop in the US from Kenya. Lots of great stuff going on.
I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
When President Yoweri Museveni made his statement on the 28th January 1986 on the steps of the parliamentary buildings as he took his first oath of office, he probably knew that it would be used as a yardstick to assess his leadership in the years to come.
I always say that actually, if the President Museveni of 1986 was to be able to face with the president of today, they would fight. But the older one now would be the most ashamed.
So when you talk of fundamental,
they wouldn't
you
fight,
see the
stupid.
people who are from
That was the whole plan to fool your dumb ass as if he's gonna leave. They fight today. It's like the Africans got like a child mindset. They fight today. They wouldn't fight, stupid. That was the con. So you put him in office as if he was gonna really lead. But somebody's gonna be a breath of fresh air. He's gonna bring real democracy to Uganda and help Ugandan people. And then as it got worse and worse and worse and worse, you think now you would see it was a lie to begin with. You think you would know that, but now you say, if Museveni talked to the Museveni back then, they would fight. No, they wouldn't, dummy. No, they wouldn't.
They would be hugging each other, saying, "Look, I played them." They would be hugging each other.
Exactly. Look at what I did. Exactly, Spike. They be hugging. Look what we did. We stayed in power 40 years, stealing from the treasury. God damn, we've had a good life, and fuck all these niggas. That's what he be saying, and that's what he's been doing.
And this is also reminds
Making
me of
a mockery out of the country.
This also reminds me of a Cameroon.
What?
I'm saying it reminds me of a Cameroon. Cameroon has only two
Cameroon
presidents.
just the same. It's just. I think the Cameroon might be worse, Spikes. I think the Cameroon might be worse. I think it's even worse. Paul Bear's like what, 88? How old is Paul Bear, Spikes?
I don't know, but he's the second president. He's the only president they know.
Spikes, like 88.
I don't know. He's probably 90.
Probably 80. When they know he's been there since the 70s.
Yeah. So for
and
him,
in 90, and he's even worse.
Yeah.
Good, Spike.
No, I'm saying I have not known any other leader. They only did have one president before Paul Biya, and that's it. You know, in other countries, we have talked about 10 presidents.
That's on purpose.
For them, they know just two.
You know why, Spike?
Yeah.
You know why, Spike? It was a French colony too. French colonies they get their puppets last time. It's like Chad. The Chad president was there for 30-some years. A puppet. Yeah. All the French colonies, these Negroes stayed for 30 years and 40, all this crazy shit because they want stability amongst their puppets while they're stealing. While they are stealing from the people. You find you a no good bastard to be a puppet and to keep the people impoverished while all the money goes to France. And white people live good in France. And black people are happy that, look at me, I speak French. I'm impoverished, but I speak the crackers language. Pouli français, français parlez-vous. If you don't get out of my face, Negro, because you speak French, you impoverished ass nigga.
We do have others fighting because they are Anglophones, and other fighting is because they are Francophone. But this was a con that that Museveni played on the people. Let me play it.
Had access to either education or political offices or offices in public service. We've got access, so we are products of that.
After 30 years, it's just a simple contradiction about an individual who told us that it's not a mere change of guard, it's a fundamental change. It's a change that is going to be seen in which everybody has freedom.
That's a contradiction, old Negro, is what it was supposed to be. Good God.
It's a con.
And Museveni is a goddamn clown. Nobody, look at this dude with these goofy hats. He is a laughing stock. But that's what they want to say. We'll make this nigga president. He's a goofball and he's a clown, and we'll laugh all the way while we steal. We'll laugh all the way while we kept this idiot in office. This nigga couldn't get elected as a goddamn trash collector. This buffoon.
Are you saying he will not get a job of a janitor in anywhere else? Are you saying he will not get elected for a janitor?
No, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mike. This idiot couldn't be janitor anywhere else. This buffoon, this con man character, that Akon. I'm making a village in Uganda that no one can afford. Stupid.
Akon is also scamming a scammer. Akon is also conning a con. You know, Akon is conning a con.
No, he's not con a con. They're both con, man. They're gonna benefit from it. This is to bring mostly some tourism to Uganda, because don't nobody want to go to that wretched ass country to begin with. Nobody want to go to that shit. Nobody want to go to Uganda. Hey, I'm going to Uganda as a tourist area. You're like, what? What you going there for? Man, I'm just playing. I ain't going to no fucking Uganda. Kenya maybe, of course, Tanzania, but Uganda, fuck no. Nobody going as no tourist. Nobody lining up to go no Uganda for no tourism.
Uganda is landlocked.
It's landlocked, exactly. It's landlocked, and it's landlocked, poorly developed, and corrupt as shit. So it's not a tourist destination. It's not like somebody gonna pull out a pamphlet and say, "Here, visit Uganda." Be like, why the fuck I want to do that? That's what you get. That's what you get. You don't got the beautiful beaches like a Kenya would have. Say, well, come to Kenya. Kenya's like, yeah, we got Mombasa beaches. Yeah, you can do that. Even though Kenya may be corrupt, not as corrupt as Uganda. Uganda's just on another day. Just like Cameroon. Cameroon's got pretty beaches, but ain't nobody giving no pamphlets to go to no fucking Cameroon. There's no vacation spot. Hey, visit the beautiful beaches of Cameroon. Motherfucker, like, motherfucker, you out your mind. I ain't going no damn Cameroon. Are you insane?
No one will want to go get, in the angle of the Francophone fight. That would be.
Yeah, nobody can take their wars and this corrupt ass bastard who's not gonna do nothing about the wars, who's invoking the wars, who's a clown, who's down there fucking brain dead. Motherfucker's like 88 years old. The bitch is retarded. Got a functionally retarded motherfucker as a president of a country. So,
and you can see the kind of a place where the Ugandans are at right now. I don't think they has seen any kind of a progress or any kind of a freedom, because if you speak out against leadership, there you will.
You go to prison. Yeah, you'll be prosecuted. Just like in goddamn Cameroon. But it's not a democracy. It's a fiefdom for Europeans. Ever since 1884 spikes, you got fiefdoms. That's all they are. Fiefdoms for Europeans who have no resources. Keep Africa undeveloped and ignorant so we can steal the resources out of there and keep making European rich. And then later on they came and started building Asia. Asia got built from Africa. Europe got built from Africa. Only Africa hasn't been built from Africa.
That is a problem, because people have the resources. We do have the other rich as an African continent, but the thing is that we have not benefited from these resources. I want to thank Kevin that he's watching us. This is the 54 Correspondence Show on the Blackwood Fire Network. In case you would like to find us on our social media, you can find us on Twitter, Blackwood Fire, and also.
Until you unite and realize you're one people. Until you realize you're one people. Like I said, you got Joby on there. These people, you got 10,000 people in Kenya. The Lua people or the Camden people, whatever the hell they are. Those are not a people. Those are not a people. Till you realize you're one people. Those are people, yes, that decide have a slight difference in variations, maybe in language and their culture. Still the same culture. Variations of the same culture. You can't keep calling 10,000 or 100,000 people. You're not a people. You got to the Africans stop doing that shit. Stop trying to divide himself by himself. Only African keeps trying to divide himself. Asians don't do that. You know what I mean? They had an Asian before they became China. Fucking a bunch of them, but they don't do it. You hear the Chinese people say, these are because they used to have the Han people, they're all the Han now, but these are the Manchurian people, these are the Castellonian people, these are these people, all that goofy shit. Yeah, we Chinese people. We're here to dominate.
Yeah.
I don't care if you find us in Jamaica. Yeah. I don't care if you find us in America, South America, Africa. We're Chinese people. Only Africans do the damn splitting up. Africans got to learn, no, we're African people. That's what we are. We're not the Lua. We're not the Khoisan. We're not the fucking Zulu. We're not none of that shit. We're African people. And we move, and that's why that's why there's no comprehensive strategy for everything spikes, because you don't move as one people. So you understand you're one people and respect one another as one people. See, can't nobody turn me against you, Cameron. Oh, she's that tribe. I don't give a fuck about that dumb tribe shit. Get out of my face with that dumb shit. You can't, that tribe is getting all the jobs. That's the problem. Nothing with Africa. Nepotism. I've got to put all my people that was from my goofy tribe and not the best person. So you got inefficient idiots and retarded people in key positions because they're part of some fucked up tribe nonsense. Go ahead, Spikes.
I was just saying the thing is that you know, when we are divided, then and anyone would actually be easily swayed into believing that this and that. But let me play this. This was of course in 1986, and then we shall get back to the conversation.
All right.
As president,
Nobody should think that what is happening today, or what has been happening in the last few days, is a mere change of guards. It's not a mere change of guards. I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
I don't know if you can see the Indians are taking the pictures, and also let me rewind it back so that you can see the goofy, what do you call these, the woolen, you can see it. Let me play one more time. You can see it. You can see it. You can see the problem that you do have right here. Let me just this is what we do have with the woolen,
the white people.
Yeah, the British with the woolen, what do you call this thing they put on their head as a judge or as the whatever they put it on their head? This is the problem.
Oh,
right
yeah,
here.
the wigs, right? The wigs,
yeah.
exactly. You're a clone. The wigs. That means your mind is still conquered by Europeans. You are a goofball. You're conquered. Your mind is still conquered by you. You're a clone of Europeans. Man in Africa got a fucking white man's wig on that they don't even wear no more. So your mind is fucked up. You got the mind of a child.
This is how it was overseeing the whole process. It's a white man who was overseeing the whole process, removing one and putting in place their perfect. This would be an apprenticeship for the perfect puppet. It's like an apprenticeship show.
Exactly.
Kabuki theater for an apprentice.
I'm glad the Africans are finally waking up. I'm glad you can see it, and other African youth can see it. So why would we keep all their shit? Why would you keep all the traditions of colonial rule? Why would you keep their economic system, their political system, their judicial system? Because you were never free.
The judicial system especially.
Because in Africa we have seen so much change that change has become meaningless. It's no longer change but merely turmoil. This group getting rid of that group and that group doing worse than the group it got rid of. Now, please, I do not count us in that category of people. The National Resistance Movement, I think, is a clear-headed movement with clear objectives and with good membership. I think it makes a very big difference from the situation in which we were, where the very people in power were they themselves encouraging evil instead of trying to combat evil. I think this is a slightly different situation.
You can hear him going on and on and on and on, doing a whole TED Talk. He was doing his TED Talk presentation in 1986 in that particular country. And of course, we remember Milton Obote. We did have the president, Milton Obote, and we also did have Idi Amin Dada in that particular country. But what has been right now is that Museveni has been sworn in for the 6th term as the president of Uganda. And we have been saying that, people have not known, even when Bobby Wine was being born, I presume Bobby Wine was born in 1986 or maybe 1985. When he was born, I think he has just known one president, and that president has been.
That's all he's known, of course.
Yeah, it's only president he has known for his entire life.
That's why it's not a real government. You can't have a president 50, 40 years. That's a joke. It's a joke. It's not. That's a joke. When in 85, the president of fucking America was goddamn Ronald Reagan. Like this motherfucker came in power when Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. This shit is unbelievable. This shit's crazy. Not a president, they're dictators. They're just a nice name. The president. No, they're dictators, not a president. Don't call them what they are. He's a dictator. It's a sham. The election's a sham. Paul Beer's a dictator. Guy in Chad was a dictator. They're all dictators. The sham.
And that was how he actually got to dupe the people over Uganda. I wish we did have Maria on the show. She would tell us, how people feel with the signing in over the 6th term. I would wish we would have Maria, because I know Maria is also tired.
I don't know what happened with her. Doctor said she coming back. I don't know. Museveni beating her, got in the dungeon, beating her on her back or something. I don't know. Or maybe Bobby Wine hired us, and right now she's cooking up all these different kind of chef dishes for Bobby Wine, because Bobby Wine has that paper. I think Bobby Wine is getting funded from all these Western sources. But nonetheless, I wanted to share some more matters that is happening also on the neighboring country. And now, of course, the first neighbor of Kenya, Uganda, is Kenya. And there has been a story that has come out. And the thing is, I think it's like we are competing for who is most corrupt on the African continent, because right now there is one of the whistleblowers. This is an MP. And he was saying, I am willing to refund the shillings 100,000 K, which is $1,000 bribe from Parliament. This is according to Moses Kuria, who is one of the MPs, who says that on a daily basis, the MPs get bribed to go and pass legislation which is in favor of the government. For example, there has been a new move to change the constitution to allow for the for the adding of positions, which will include the prime minister and also 2 deputies. And he was saying that, when these particular motions are come up, you have to go pick up your check, and then the next Monday you will go and vote, and you have already like 100,000 K shilling, which is about 1,000. And this is what he was talking about, and he was making the comment.
We start this half hour in Kenya, where 3 members of parliament have been summoned to appear before the House Speaker today, after they claimed that some of their colleagues had received a sum of money, almost $1,000 to vote yes for a constitutional amendment bill known as the Building Bridges Initiative, or BBI. We can speak to one of them, the Member of Parliament for Gatundu, Moses Kuria. Good morning to you. So what exactly are your allegations?
Hello?
Hello, Moses, can you hear me? I just wanted to understand what are you saying you believe happened?
Well, it is not unusual in the Kenyan Parliament for MPs to be paid or to be compensated for voting in a certain way, especially when the government has got a particular interest in that particular matter. I mean, it has happened, countless times for the 8 years that I've been in Parliament. So
you say it's not unusual. It's quite an extraordinary state of affairs, isn't it? If people
It's not unusual. It is not, because I've been in Parliament for 8 years. And I know when they are weighty matters, or matters that the government has a particular interest in or heavy interest in, that MPs will pass by the office of the leader of the majority party and receive some gifts in form of cash.
The response to those claims you're making has been pretty strong, hasn't it? I mean, the government certainly doesn't accept that things like that take place.
Well, I don't expect that they will accept, and obviously these things don't happen.
He just told the truth. The governor said he'd be bribing people.
So I know our modus operandi in terms of these matters. I mean, just to give you an example, when the current majority leader was elected or appointed, because he was more appointed than elected, we were called for a parliamentary group meeting. And at the end of that meeting, we just passed by the office of the leader of the majority and received our $1,000, and that was it.
We don't have him, obviously, to respond to.
Yeah, clearly, yes. But so what I would say on general terms is that it is not unusual for members to get this kind of inducement. And if you remember, I don't know if you followed when the members of the county assemblies did pass the BBI bill, a car grant 2 million shillings, roughly $20,000, which had been, denied for a long time, was passed overnight. They have been looking for this card grant for close to 10 years now. And then just as an inducement to vote for the BBI, it was, the president just went for a meeting and announced to the MCs, now tomorrow you get the card grant, now will you pass my BBI? So it is, also it's proving that this process of BBI has been fraudulent, and it has been, procured through deceit and through corruption.
You're making some pretty strong claims there. It has been passed.
That's not scary, because that is on public record.
It has been passed, obviously, by politicians, overwhelmingly voted for in both chambers of the House. I'm interested in one thing you said, though. You said that we went up earlier on to collect envelopes. That mean you too have received money?
Correct, yes.
Should you? That's not right, is it?
Yep.
Should you give it back to the Kenyan people?
Well, not the Kenyan people.
That this media is already fraudulent. So they're trying to do a thing of gotcha. And if the country's in debt, why are you?
This doesn't hand it out. You're also saying that yes.
You always said they're bribing them.
I was saying that there is a competition which is going on. We want to find out. It's like a reality show, which is the most corrupt country, and there is a competition for which can be more corrupt than the other, which is really, really unfortunate, because at the end of the day, we are losing billions. This is money given to everyone.
It was set up to be corrupt. I don't know. The Kenyans got to start again. Kenya was set up as a fiefdom for British power. The government, mento means mine. Government, go to government spikes and look up the meaning of government. Go back to etymology. Mento, government control the mind. Kenya's in debt. Why would they be building 2 more damn legislative branches like a goddamn prime minister, which is a useless job, and some other shit? Because it's to make sure that the Kenyatas and these people stay on the government dole, and the people pay his ass to do nothing. The thiefdom, set up as a thiefdom.
What I see when I put up the stats for government, let me put it up real quick.
Say etymology. You want to say etymology. What is the etymology of government?
I see the origin.
It means mental.
The origin of the word government. People say Latin word for mind control. It's a Latin word for mind control.
Exactly. Also, so, Spikes, if I'm the British and I left my government in Kenya, it's mind control. That's what it is. But you haven't been educated enough to know that. So you talk about why the government don't work? Because it was never meant to work. It was never meant to be fair. It was always meant to be corrupt and backwards. That's what it's meant to do. The Kenyan government is working exactly the way it was designed to work, Spikes. That's why it's so fucking corrupt. Working perfectly for the European. Go ahead, Spikes.
No, just saying the word says that it comes from a Latin gubernator, and I means to steer.
Yes.
We have to steer in a kind of a way, which is really to also control.
Yes, to steer your mind, to control your mind. Yes, Spikes. That's why you believe the government that the British left behind was supposed to be beneficial to you as a black African, and it was never. You've already broke down. You know that they put their puppet in there, Kenyatta. You with Lord Dillon, man, these other fake lords. I think they're gonna be a lord over something. You don't own none of that African land. That land was never yours. That's African people shit. Go ahead, Spikes.
The biggest irony with the whole Kenyan situation is that the man that you had there, his name is Moses Kuria, and Moses Kuria is the member of parliament for the place where the president is from. The president is from a place known as Agatundu. Before the president became a president, he was a member of parliament for that particular area known as Agatundu. And this man who comes up and says we have been getting bribes from the leader himself is from the same they are from the same county constituency. And that also shows that, you know, it's like we have gotten to a point where this is the whole nonsense has been normalized. But nonetheless, let me switch it up and I talk about what we need to change. And I want to share with us a little bit of Dr. Arikana. I haven't seen her for a minute. I think she went silent after she got removed from her position as the diaspora ambassador.
She's been out there fighting. She must have been felt. No, she's been out there talking, banging, and drumming about France, and she's been out there doing. No, she's been out. She ain't went silent. She's been out there.
I haven't seen her for a minute, but she was saying that you know, there should be fundamental changes, and this is what she believes to be the things that perhaps should be changed before we get to any progress.
Really get us to look at what it is that we want to accomplish in our motherland this year, 2021, as we implement African Continental Free Trade Area. Once upon a time, our beloved continent was the center of the earth, was the center of the world. Once upon a time, our beloved continent was this beautiful tree of life that gave life not only to humanity, but to life in general as we know it. Invaders came to our beloved continent centuries ago, and they started messing with this tree of life that is Africa. We must understand the tree that was, the tree that gave life to the world. We need to understand what has been done to this tree to take it to where we have the Africa that is no longer the center of the world. When we understand what has been done to Africa, it makes it easier for us to strategize on how we can undo the damage, the destruction that has befallen our motherland, the African tree of life. I think it's clear that we understand for this tree to have issues. The issues are either issues above the ground, which is what they have mostly wanted us to focus on, versus issues below the ground, which are really the pivotal issues, the issues that they strategized to see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. Allow me to classify the issues, the reasons why this tree of life that is Africa is ailing. And I'm going to divide the issues between the two. Problems that are causing this tree to ail, but problems above the root, above the ground. And issues that are making this tree ail that are below the ground. Issues of the root. Quite often, we are focusing on the issues above the root, issues above the ground. Issues like the leaves and the flowers and the fruits and the branches that are falling off one season after another. Those issues like leadership, issues like corruption, issues like poor access to healthcare, poor education, poor infrastructure. Those are all issues above the ground. They come and they go. We change leaders every day in Africa. But tell me one African country changed a leader and things changed. We might see some improvement.
Because they're puppets. You know that, Ambassador Arikana. Talk about that changes because it's not supposed to change.
You know, understanding of our Africa is the issues below the ground, the issues of the root, the issues that were predetermined by those who came to colonize Africa, those who came to settle in our beloved continent. Remember, when they came to Africa, the settlers, they found an amazing continent with everything and anything the world could ever need, well-established educational systems. And they wondered, how on earth can we ever conquer such an amazing continent?
How can we defeat these people? How can we conquer their ass?
That Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. I repeat, unless they came with a strategy that would see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. To start with, when colonizers came to Africa, we didn't have the issue of color. Black and white did not exist in our languages. We were Africans. The missionaries were sent in with specific instructions to make the Africans believe that everything African was bad and everything European was better and more desirable. They put in motion a process of making us dislike that which was ours and go all out to embrace what the new invader was bringing to our beloved continent.
And they didn't have shit. That's what makes it even crazy. Europeans didn't have nothing.
They had a packet of cigarettes.
Where it hurt the most. The missionaries taught us about white angels. The missionaries taught us about the devil who was black. The missionaries are white, like the angels. And that when we go to church, we must worship the white angels. And definitely have nothing to do with the black devil who looks like us. Subliminal messaging. Subliminal messaging. That's where we began the self-hate, the mistrust of each other, the lack of appreciation, an idea that is coming from your brother, an idea that is coming from your sister, because we are taught to dislike anything to do with us. That, my brothers and sisters, was level one, number one level of destroying the African, the mind. Then they followed it,
the mind.
Colonization, a systematic way of saying now that we have made the African believe that everything African was bad and everything European was better. Let's take it to the next level.
I don't want to do my damn ancestors. They're evil.
Joby needs to get the Arikana package. Joby needs to get the Arikana package of colonize the mind as well before we get to any other bit of
our continent better. So it is they met in Berlin, Germany, at the invitation of the then Chancellor of Germany, Bismarck, specifically to come up with a strategy that once again would see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. They spent 4 months, 4 cold months in Berlin, Germany, from November of 1884 to February of 1885. And by the time they were done, our Africa had been chopped up into the tiny little countries that we see today. Countries that were intentionally divided in such a way that individually they will never survive. That individually they are easy to exploit.
Ridiculous ass
countries. That they can continue to exploit the natural resources that we were endowed with in our beloved continent. A united Africa is an Africa that is difficult to exploit. An Africa that speaks with one voice is an Africa that is difficult to exploit. So it is what they came up with, their strategy of 1884 during the Berlin Conference is what gave us the Africa that we have today. An Africa that is countries like Benin, countries like Togo, countries like Central African Republic.
Benin, those 3 countries mentioned, those 3 countries, I've been talking about them, Togo, Benin.
You have been, I give you credit. You have been, Spikes, I give you credit. You have been. And Equatorial Guinea, all this crazy shit.
Yeah, and those countries can never do anything. And also, and Burundi, like you say, they on their own, they can never do anything. You can never go on the table and say, this is what we are demanding. Demanding as who? Demanding as Togo, demanding as Central African Republic, demanding as Benin. No one will listen to you.
Exactly they will laugh right, Spike.
And yeah, because it's not
exactly.
Niger, as a matter of fact, all African countries. Then they turn around and said, okay, here we are. You are independent countries. Of course, during the Berlin Conference and during colonization, every one of those countries was controlled from those capitals in Europe until independence, when our Pan-African fathers began to say there's something wrong with this picture. We can no longer continue to be subservient in our own continent. So they began to push back. And this is what led us to get the fake independence, where we were given political liberation, limited political liberation to this day. But what they kept and never let go, which brings me to issue number 3 of the root, was the economic liberation. You see, you got to understand that when we were under colonization, the companies that ran the economies of all African countries were companies that belonged to the colonizer. If a country was colonized by the British, the majority of the companies that controlled the economies of those countries were British. If you're colonized by the Germans, German companies. If you're colonized by the French companies, and so forth. That, my brothers and sisters, they never give up. They still continue to control the economies of their former colonies.
100% I agree. I think Dr. Arikana is also, teaching on the truth with her last, with all of her breath. I can hear that she's breathing heavy. Probably
that's why they want to kill her. That's why they make sure she wouldn't be AU president. That's why they make.
I think she has a problem with her chest as well. I can hear her breathing heavy on that particular video, and she's breathing heavy. I think she has a problem when she's breathing. I think the microphone is also like
she's a medical doctor. I think she just speaks after her son had passed away. I think her son had passed away. She was still mourning, you nut.
No, the way she's breathing in, I could hear the way she's breathing, and I can tell she's not really healthy 100% to the chest. The breath, the way she's
unhealthy. She's a medical doctor, Spike. She knows her.
Medical doctors get sick as well. I can tell from the way the video here.
I'm not saying she don't get sick. I think she's doing that. She was talking that way. She was under duress because she just lost her son, Spike. Her son had just died.
He's not 100% well. But anyhow, I want to thank Dr. Arikana because she says
who cares about people? Let's worry about the message, Spike. Let's worry about the message and not waste your breathing.
Of course, I had to just point to that. But nonetheless, I do believe that there are fundamental problems which are the roots, which are at the roots, and I agree with her. And there's also what we do see as a manifestation of those problems that are underneath. All these problems that were caused by the colonizers, they are underneath, and people might not even be able to know that because the division is there. Some people do not even notice the division. They think that this is how it has been since time immemorial. They think we were always like this.
That's right.
Even 100 years.
Because exactly right, Spike. Exactly right. They haven't talked on history. They think these divisions are real. That they can't go back past 100 years ago. Like you said, Spike, they don't know they weren't always Kenyans. They don't know if these borders were created. They don't know these borders. There's no such thing as a Kenyan, a Nigerian, a Tanzanian. All this shit is baloney. It's all made up to keep Africans weak and impoverished, so the Europeans can constantly steal out of Africa. These governments were set up so they can still have mind control. That's why when they left, the governments were left. The educational system, which are garbage, which are indoctrination. The education teaches Africans self-hate, to love their enemy, and to indoctrinate them to always lose. Doesn't teach the African how great they are. Doesn't teach the African about its melanin. Doesn't teach the African about who he is in history, the greatness of African people. It doesn't teach you that you once ruled the world. Doesn't teach you any of this shit.
It doesn't.
The educational system has taught you to be a slave.
It also doesn't. It also doesn't teach you that 178 years ago, or about 180 years ago, we did not have any Kenya. We did not have, before the Berlin Conference in 1884, which is about 180 years ago, we did not have none of these Kenya, none of these Uganda. And this is just even barely 200 years ago. We did have Africa's just kingdoms. So we did not have countries such as Togo, Benin.
Yeah.
Before the 80s.
Exactly. Didn't have any Togo. Exactly right, Spike. Was no Togo. Was no Rwanda. Was no Burundi. was no Tanzania, was no Mozambique, was none of this shit, was no Zimbabwe, was none of this shit.
People do not want to think, people do not want to think past 180 years ago. If you tell people, it would be so much tasking for them. You tell them, think about 180 years ago. Before the Berlin Conference, there was nothing like Kenya. There was nothing like, and that was just 180 years ago. And I think perhaps if you look at maybe my grandmother's mother,
your great grandmother. I gotta ask your great grandmother, which a lot of people don't. Joby said her great grandmother's evil. She's evil. I don't want no shit. My great grandmother fights. She's evil.
My great grandmother didn't know of any Kenya or of any Uganda. There wasn't any. But when she was living in her time, there wasn't. That was my great grandmother. She wasn't. Then my grandmother's mother, was it her mother or her mother? Before? Yeah, my grandmother. If she was living before 18. No, maybe not the mother, maybe my grandmother's grandmother. When she was living, she did not know. Probably she was existing around 1800s in the before 18.
How was no, of course she was. Like I think your grandmother now, Spike's what, about 80 years old, maybe? About 80 something, maybe.
She's 80 or 80 something. So if you go back to her mom's of course is dead. But
you go to her mom's time. Yeah. So it's probably her grandmother's time. Her grandmother didn't know any, hell, even her mom. Her mom didn't know any Kenya. Her grandmother didn't know any Kenya. Yeah. She just knows she's an African woman.
There wasn't any, because there wasn't any before 1884, which is 170, about 178, 180 years ago. About 180 years ago, which is about 2 or 3 generations from now. 2 or 3 generations back, which is about 180. 2 generations back, because if you go back to 1844, that's 60 to 1900, then 100 to 2000, and then 2000 plus 20, so that's like 180. Yeah, that's about 180 years.
Time ago, Spikes. Not a long time ago.
If you ask Africans what they think about, about 180 years back, no one will want to think that. They will tell you, no, we are Togolese, we are Nigerians, do not want that devil talk here. Anyhow, the people of Uganda and we need to address this matter.
We're Central African Republicans. We're Central African Republicans.
Oh, we are Dominicans. And I think I also believe that when you go back to these Caribbean countries, we probably did not have them maybe 200 years ago. They were just, we probably did not have them.
They didn't exist either, Spike. No, they didn't. No, they didn't exist either.
Oh, so your grandmother,
Cuba and Haiti and Puerto Rico.
So your grandmother's grandmother wasn't a Cuban. She wasn't a Dominican. She wasn't all these other nonsense that you do have right now. My country.
No, they're brought from Africa. So they came from Africa. So, so now you call yourself a Puerto Rican today, and your goddamn great grandmother came from which is called Nigeria or Congo today. How are you a Puerto Rican? I'm a Puerto Rican. How are you a fucking Puerto Rican, dummy? But your goddamn grandmother came from fucking Angola. Some shit.
I'm Sammy Sosa, a pure breed Dominican. I don't want anything to do with the dirty Africans, either in Angola or either in Kenya. I am Sammy Sosa, a pure breed Dominican. a pure breed Dominican. And
did he write that, Spike? Is that something you saying? Is that some shit you saying, Spike? Or did he write that?
I'm just saying what he would say. What he would say. He didn't write it down. He would say in his mind.
Right, check it out. Sammy Sosa is darker than me and you combined at one time. He says he's not an African, he's a Dominican. That's how fucked up in the head and how white supremacy works to this man.
If we are not careful, it might take another 180 years to get out of this mess. If we are not careful, it might take us another 180 years to get out of the mess, and people realize this is nonsense. If we are not careful, because it's taken 180 years and people do not still recognize that they are African. We did not have none of that South African or Zambian or Mozambican or 180 years ago. Your grandmother's grandmother. I would actually love to go and ask some people and ask them, what nationality was your grandmother's grandmother? And they would have no idea.
We should do that. We should go on the streets. And we should set up a day. We should set up a day where you go out there and do that. You had to go. We should set up a day when we go out and do that. Let's check the weather report. Let's check the weather report where it's sunny, it's not rainy that day. Have you go out, have you and the girls go out and talk to people. Say, what was your grandmother's grandmother? That's not it. She was Kenyan. Was she? Are you sure about that? Yes, she's Kenyan.
I bet you. Okay. I bet you. $10. I bet you $10 she wasn't Kenyan. And there was also another question, which is the laws of the two questions. There are two questions: the law of the universe and the 10 commandments. Can you tell me 2 laws of the universe? And everyone will be looking down.
Yeah, that's good too. That would be awesome. That would be awesome as hell. They would tell 10 commandments. They wouldn't tell nothing about the laws of the universe. Yeah, of course I know the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt all that kindergarten shit. Thou shalt not stub your toe when you go to bed.
That's a problem we have. That's a problem. That's the problems that we have right here on the
But that was an indoctrination. That's why the missionary was sent to get the mind. And remember also what they do. So if the world is mental, they knew the Moors taught them all this. They know the world is mental. This is from the Moors teaching these no good bastards. So if you know the world's mental, you go to Africa, you deal with the minds, and then you start what? Renaming everything. Why was it so important for them to name it? Because your mind, you being African, your mind is the highest. I'm going now when you say these names, you're going to admit that I own them. Lake Victoria, fucking Victoria Falls, fucking Lord Benamir, whatever the fuck his name is, Karen. This is the Karen part of Nairobi. You're like, what? That is this white one together. So it's mental.
And that, I agree with you. That is, at the end of the day, it's mentalism. Nonetheless, our family, we are in and out because we do have another show. We do have our Rwandi's brother joining us on the other broadcast, which is about to start at the top of the hour. But really, I would like to thank everyone that has been with us on this 54 Correspondence show, where we get to talk about African matters and what is happening around the beautiful African continent, from the Central African Republic also to the South African nation, and to everywhere else right here on the African continent. Keith, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show and giving us this platform. We are hoping to also get started with the next show probably in about 10 minutes from now, and we shall get to discover more about Rwanda as we discuss with the
Damn, you got another show in 10 minutes, Max?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 2 p.m. the express show. We do have the guest from Rwanda. We do have the guest from Rwanda. We shall be having him via video link as well, and we shall be continuing. We shall be continuing the conversation. I will be asking him. I will be asking him about the nationality of his grandmother's grandmother, and maybe we might see whether he might know of that. Nonetheless, family, much peace and love. We hope to catch you on the next
family. Africa first, life first, Africa first. We must get back our minds. And no to Kenyatta becoming prime minister and setting up other fake ass parts of this government in Kenya. Hell no.
You already paid the bill for that. You can hear the MPs and they already got their check. Well, we might have to. We'll have to go back.
You bring me for song. What you want me life? My father used to tell me keep your head high. So I roll the blunt and I'm a lighter. Always see the people with the fake smile. Come behind your back, I say so I'm a ball. Me, I live my life, I know they waste time. If you got a problem, I got pack and go. I ain't gotta worry about the fake lies or the fake lies. Sometimes I wanna quit it, sometimes I wanna cry. When me or die, they bring tears to my eyes. Then it make me think it, life know they come twice. So I'm